this whole idea that somehow there is going to be a spiritual awakening, a great insight that is just going to transform this personality, this persona of a human being, and that will completely change everything, that the person will become the epitome of perfection is not my experience. I feel that self-realization, or call it awakening, whatever word you like to use it. I like to use the word insight, which Jiddu Krishnamurti used frequently. An insight that is not a function of time, because an insight brings it comes from total awareness of something that is happening, total awareness of a fact. So when something happens, like for example, some feeling, some sensation arises in the body, some anxiety, or anything it could be, that is the fact. The fact is that is you. The fact is you. But the problem is that the sense of separation that comes up when this pseudo subject, me, takes ownership of that feeling. So our initial impulse is that I should not feel like that. So if there is anxiety, the initial impulse is that I should not be having anxiety. So we immediately create the dualistic opposite. And the thing is that till there is this me alive in any form, life becomes suffering because the separation remains. And these are not my words. This have been said by teachers like Jiddu Krishnamurti, Ramesh Balsekar, Ramana Maharishi. Till there is a me, there is suffering. Now, there is another thing, that the general perception is that once I have that experience of self-realization, where I somehow become perfect and free from everything, that I'm completely free of all my conditioning. And I don't believe that that is the case. Yes, the awakening is spontaneous, which means it is not a function of time. So insight comes like this, spontaneously. But it necessarily does not change everything about a person. Some conditions may change, but there are some conditioning which take time, or some which may never go. For example, Nisargadatta Maharaj had a short temper, but that temper never became a destructive rage. That temper did not manifest as abuse. So he was aware of his reactions, of his temper, and he accepted that that could not be changed despite his best efforts. And I'm sure he must have tried that a lot during his years of seeking. So you see this whole idea of self-improvement, that once I have the awakening, that I'm somehow going to emerge as a better person. That is just the idea of the ego mind. That is the story of the split mind, dualistic mind. Now, while I do recognize that yes, some changes do happen, you do feel a sense of natural compassion for people once you see that consciousness is behind everything, the same consciousness. But it does not mean that in transactionality you become immune to the laws of nature, to the forces of nature. It does not mean that nothing is going to ever hurt you, that you're never going to react. Your human experience will continue as it is, but it will continue with an understanding. And the understanding is this, that no one chooses to do anything. And if you observe yourself completely, without biases, without prejudice, if you give yourself total attention attention, you will recognize that whatever happened in your life, any event, any unpleasant event, any violent event, there were certain conditions that led to it. You did not choose to be that way. You did not say that I am going to act violently when so and so situation arises. But what happens with the ego is that it claims ownership over things that happen, and it does not see things as a happening, it sees things as personal happening. And then it takes on shame and guilt. With shame and guilt, the ego propagates as suffering in horizontal time. So the idea that I am going to change is of the ego. And the ego says that I need to go further into spiritual practice so that I become that perfect human being where I never get angry, where I never feel jealous, where I never feel anger, resentment towards anybody. But you see, all of these things are a part of human conditioning, and they are as much a flow of life as other pleasant emotions are, like happiness, the feeling of compassion, joy, love that we feel for another. They are as much a part of that duality. So my question to you is, how do you disconnect this link of opposites, this link of love and hatred? The connection is broken with the recognition, which is not a personal recognition, that everything is a happening, everything happens as per cosmic law, and that nobody is the doer of their actions. Once you have this understanding, the feelings, the emotions, the sensations, the perceptions, they may still arise in the moment. You cannot control the flow of life according to your ideas, your perceptions. You cannot change the world according to your beliefs. The flow of life continues the way it has to continue. The only thing you can do is to accept that unaltered, unpredictable flow of life. I may be wrong, but so far that has been the experience. And that experience itself has brought a lot of peace, because now the idea of becoming an improved version of myself to conform to an idealistic standards placed by society, that is not there in my case. For some people, I may be extremely worthless person, just writing books and making these random YouTube videos. But you see, that is not my concern. I'm not concerned about how people perceive my work or what they think about my videos. But here I am speaking my mind, and my mind has come to this conclusion that no one through will, that means through effort, can change the course of life, the unaltered flow of life. So the idea of self-improvement, you see, self-improvement happens. And see, I'm not talking about that kind of improvement where you work on something and earn money, and that is something different. When I say self-improvement, I'm talking about evolving spiritually. Once there is a recognition that there is no self, then who is there to improve? That's the whole idea. There is nobody to improve. There are two things. One is the awakening, and awakening means instantaneous recognition in this very moment a recognition happens that you are not the doer. That is one thing. Then second thing is deliverance of that information. That means the embodiment of that knowledge by living the experience. Now this may happen for different people in different ways. When you look at someone who on the exterior appears to be a very calm and collected person wearing robes and malas and saying, and a sort of guru-like figure, a teacher-like figure, of course you don't live with that person, so you cannot say what he is in reality, but he appears to be very calm and collected and speaks of all the good things, and it seems that he is extremely sorted, he's figured out life. That may be your projection onto that person. It has got nothing to do with the fact that what he is right now in this given moment. And this is what we do. We start projecting our own personal image onto other people. The way we think that a society should be, that a person should be, that the guru should be. Therefore, we say just because he is this way, he is very calm and relaxed person, I should be the same way. And many people make this distinction between Ramana Maharishi and Nisargadatta Maharaj. Now, Nisargadatta Maharaj was a short-tempered person, and since the very beginning his condition was to be like that. But again, he accepted what happens in the moment. He lived in the moment. He did not live in a past or in the future. But Ramana Maharishi was a calm person since the beginning. Even Ramana Maharishi had his triggers. When the toilets were uncleaned in the ashrams, or when someone offered food to him without offering it to others, he lost his cool. Even one time when his ashram was robbed by a group of robbers, and one of them hit one of his leg, he screamed and he said, "Now hit the other leg." But see, what happened there happened in the moment. What he had seen in his young age, the truth these masters had seen in their early years, that is all there is to it, and it is something very ordinary. It does not make a human being special. The human being is a flawed entity and remains a flawed entity. Bound by conditioning, it operates in daily living. But with this understanding, what changes is one's attitude towards life. One does not try to control the life, but to flow with the movement of life. And in that, the mind becomes relaxed, without the mind trying to control itself in any way. So the relaxation comes naturally. It comes through an understanding, not through forced discipline or control. A majority of people struggle with this because, unfortunately, meditation in the modern day has been portrayed in such a light. It has been portrayed as if it is a magical pill that once you start meditating, all your troubles and all your anxiety is going to just vanish, disappear. And then that thing happens when you lose it at some moment, and then the whole dialogue starts. I'm a horrible human being, I've lost it, I'm a fraud, I'm this, I'm that, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. That is how the ego brings attention to itself. That is the trap that we get caught in. The trap of blame, shame, guilt. It is the ego or me's nature to bring attention to itself. So as long as the me survives, life becomes suffering. But at the same time, the idea is not to eradicate, to kill that I thought or me, because it is required in daily living for daily interactions. What here we have to recognize is that everything that is happening, every sensation, every thought, that is a fact which is not apart from you. You are the fact, you are the sensation, you are the feeling, but there is no observer of anything. And when this is seen in the impersonal awareness of I am, nothing gets propagated in horizontal time as suffering. So that is all there to it. There is nothing more to spiritual awakening beyond this. It is simply the recognition that everything happens as per the cosmic law. Or you can also say that everything is an apparent happening to no one. So this is something that I wanted to share with you. I'm on my terrace and the weather is good today, less noisy comparatively. So I thought I'll share with you. Take care. Bye.